Welcome to the Aurora 690 Rally Lite kit installation video. Start by carefully opening the kit box. Take out the kit parts and put them on a clean surface. Here's a list of the tools you need to install the kit on your bike. Start disassembling the bike by removing the light mask. Remove these 4 bolts using a T30 torque socket. Remove the brake line and front wheel speed sensor from the mask guide. Pull the mask towards the front fender. Unplug the light harness. Carefully cut and remove every zip tie that keeps the cables in place. Unplug all the cables using a flat screwdriver to press on the locking mechanism of each plug. Remove the warning lights by gently pulling them out of the white housing. Remove the ABS switch by pushing it upwards. Remove the cables that come from the left handlebar switch. Remove the 2 screws that support the mask on the top clamp. The cables of the right switch pass through the mask, ending at the left side of the bike near the steering head. In order to remove them, you must remove the left side fairing. Start by taking out the seat. Remove the white side panel. Remove the 4 bolts that keep the black side panel in place. Remove the side panel. Remove the 3 bolts, unplug the 3 hoses, and remove the black frame cover. Remove the main switch cover by pulling it upwards. Cut the zip tie that keeps the switch cables in place. Carefully remove the 2 plugs of the right switch using a flat screwdriver to press on the plug lock. Pull the cables out of the bike's frame. Release the mask from the switch cables. Carefully and slowly remove the main harness from the mask. Make sure you have cut the zip ties that keep the harness in its place on the mask. Use a marker to draw a line that you'll cut on to create an opening for the brake line. Use a cutting wheel to create a gap on the mask. Repeat this process on the top of the mask, as seen on the video. If you don't feel like cutting the mask, you'll have to remove the brake line from the front caliper and the master cylinder in order to be able to remove the mask from the bike. Remove the radiator guard. Remove the airbox cover. Take out the filter. Remove the 2 screws that support the expansion tank on the frame. Remove the ignition switch screws. Pull the switch out of the frame. Install the rear part of the spider clamp over the switch. This must be done carefully in order not to scratch the paint of the frame. Install the switch back on the frame using the supplied bolts that came with the spider clamp. Install the bolts of the coolant expansion tank. Put back the air filter and the cover. Carefully place the supplied U-bolt on the frame, taking care not to scratch the paint. Put the spider clamp in place and hand tighten the nuts on the U-bolt. Don't forget to install the wide washers first. Install the long bolts and the spacers on both sides. Set your torque wrench to 25 Newton meters and start tightening the two top bolts. When finished, tighten the U-bolt nuts using the same torque value. In both cases, follow the on-screen procedure and apply the torque gradually to each side of the spider clamp. Remove the USB charger. Remove the warning lights. Remove the turn indicators. Remove the speedometer from the mask by removing the two Torx screws. Put the speedo on the mount and use the original screws to secure it in its place. Install the KTM USB charger on the navigation backplate. Put the turn indicators on the Aurora navigation tower. Take care of the cables, they can easily be damaged. Put the warning lights in any of the 5 available slots on the navigation tower. We recommend installing them on the orange part of the tower, as seen on the video. Install the ABS switch on the small black bracket. You can secure it in place by putting a small zip tie on the back side of the bracket. Remove the plain M8 nut that keeps the tower in place. We're not going to use this. Mount the speedo in its place using the supplied bolts. If you're using a handlebar riser, make sure the speedo doesn't touch the steering clamps. If it does, push it away to create a small gap between them. Pass the left switch cables behind the speedo bracket and connect them to the main harness. Secure the harness on the spider clamp with a zip tie. Align the tower with the head clamp and put the mounting bolts in their place from the right side of the bike. Put something soft between the headlight and the fender. The goal is to secure the tower on the clamp as far from the fender as possible. If there's help available, ask them to keep the tower away from the fender until you secure the head clamp bolts. Use a torque wrench set at 25 Newton meters to secure the tower in its place. Install the screen on the bike. Secure the screen bolts. When the bolt receptors are new, you may need to help them a bit by pushing them forward from their backside while turning the bolt at the same time. Tighten the 4 rear M6 bolts at the edge of the transparent tower polymer parts. Move the screen up and down, making sure it's at a resting position. Start tightening the M8 tower bolts, starting from the lower one. Use a torque wrench set at 25 Newton meters. Tighten the rest of the M6 tower bolts. Use a torque wrench set at 9 Newton meters. Tighten the screen pin holders. Remove the screen, the headlight, and the high beam projector. Remove the lower tower cover. Put back all the wiring plugs of the switches, the flash relay, indicators, speed sensor, etc. If needed, use zip ties to secure them on the tower. The switch cables get in the tower through the same opening as the speedo cable. The main harness goes under the tower, between the tower and the lower cover. Put back the lower cover. Install the lights harness. Install the high beam projector. Connect it to the harness. Leave the screws loose for now. Connect the position light and the main beam. Install the main beam on the tower. Tighten the screws by hand. These are the same screws that you'll use to adjust the height of the main beam and the high beam. Prepare the frame covers for installation. Follow the on-screen procedure and cut the covers as indicated. Use a drill and create 2 6mm holes on the left frame cover. Install the left frame cover on the bike using the original bolts. Connect all 3 hoses. Route the switch cables in the clutch hose through the opening slot. Use 2 zip ties to secure the front part of the cover on the frame. Remove the rubber grommet from the frame. Install the top fairing brackets. There's a capital L on the left one and an R on the right one. Make sure you're installing the correct one on each side. If in place, remove the Zeus receptors and secure the bracket in place using the supplied screw and nut. Install the Zeus receptor. Install the kit radiator guard. Install the lower fairing brackets using the supplied hardware. Remove the 4 bolts that we'll use for the navigation backplate. Use a 10mm wrench and tighten the top rubber mounts. Put the backplate on the tower using the rear bolts. Align the backplate with the front rubber mounts. Lift the backplate and hand tighten the rear mounts. Remove the backplate and fully tighten the rear mounts. Verify the correct alignment of the backplate with all 4 rubber mounts. Route the USB cable toward the lower part of the tower. Secure the backplate on the tower. Connect the KTM USB charger to the harness. We recommend installing the USB charger that came with the kit at the left side of the tower. Follow the on-screen procedure to install it on your bike. Use a 3mm drill to create 2 holes for the USB bracket. Mount the cable guide on the left fork using the supplied bolts. You can mount it over or under the lower triple clamp. Remember to put the brake line and the speed sensor cable in the guide before screwing it fully in. The most effortless way to put the stickers on the fairings is to use soap mixed with water. First, you have to clean and wipe the surface of the fairing. Remove the glue cover from the sticker and spray some soap with water on the glue surface. Put the sticker on the fairing and push on the surface toward the edge of the sticker, forcing the water and the air to get out. Use a heat gun to dry the trapped water and continue to push on the surface toward the edge until all the bubbles with water and air disappear. Repeat the procedure with all the remaining stickers. Be extra careful with the heat gun. If you hold it very close to the sticker, you may damage it permanently. When finished, clean the fairing with some soap and wipe until it dries. Use the supplied hardware to connect the side panels. There are 4 bolts and 4 nuts available for each side. Put the Aurora logo at the indicated point. Your bike will get 5 more ponies by doing so. Install the side panels on the bike. First, secure the top quarter turn bolt, then the lower one. Put the 6 rubber nuts in the pre-drilled holes of the panels. Install the screen on the bike. Secure the front fasteners and install the 6 Torx bolts at the sides of the screen. In order to mount the rear bolts of the side panels, you have to make sure there's thread at the center of the tank bolt. If there's no thread, you have to create one using the 5mm drill and the M6 tap that came with the kit. Drill a hole no deeper than 10mm. Use the M6 tap to create the needed thread. If you don't feel like drilling these bolts, you can mount the rear side of the fairings using a good quality heavy-duty Velcro tape. Put the seat back in its place. Your Aurora 690 Rally Lite is now ready for its first ride. If you need more help, feel free to send us an email at the address shown. Thank you for choosing Aurora Rally Equipment.